Butler never changed his expression no matter what happened. Superfluous. Exceeding what is necessary. Samantha had already won the campaign, so her constant flattery of others was superfluous. Sycophant. One who flatters for self-gain. Some see the people in the cabinet as the Prime Minister's closest advisors, but others see them as sycophants. Taciturn. Not inclined to talk. Though Magda never seems to stop talking, her brother is quite taciturn. Truculent. Ready to fight, cruel. This club doesn't really attract the dangerous types, so why was that bouncer being so truculent? Umbrage. Resentment, offense. He called me a lily-livered coward, and I took umbrage at the insult. Venerable. Deserving respect because of age or achievement. The venerable High Court judge had made several key rulings in landmark cases throughout the years. Vex. To confuse or annoy. My boyfriend vexes me by pinching my bottom for hours on end. Vociferous. Loud, boisterous. I'm tired of his vociferous whining, so I'm breaking up with him. Wanton. Undisciplined, lewd, lustful. Joanna's wanton demeanor often made the frat guys next door very excited. Zenith. The highest point, culminating point. I was too nice to tell Emily that she had reached the absolute zenith of her career with that one top 10 hit of hers. Aberration. Something that differs from the norm. In 1947, Poland won the World Cup, but the success turned out to be an aberration, and Poland have not won a World Cup since. Abhor. To hate, detest. Because he always wound up getting hit in the head when he tried to play cricket, Marquine began to abhor the sport. Acquiesce. To agree without protesting. Though Mr. Pospieszny wanted to stay outside and work in his garage, when his wife told him that he had better come in to dinner, he acquiesced to her demands. Alacrity. Eagerness. Speed. For some reason, Simon loved to help his girlfriend whenever he could, so when his girlfriend asked him to set the table, he did so with alacrity. Amiable. Friendly. An amiable fellow, Neil got along with just about everyone. Appease. To calm, satisfy. When Jerry cries, his mother gives him chocolate to appease him. Arcane. Obscure. Secret. Known to only a few, the professor is an expert in arcane Kashbuian literature. Avarice. Excessive greed. The banker's avarice led him to amass an enormous personal fortune. Brazen. Excessively bold, brash, clear, and obvious. Critics condemned the writer's brazen attempt to plagiarize Frankout Cerwanko's work. Brusque. Short, abrupt, dismissive. Simon's brusque manner sometimes offended his colleagues. Cajole. To urge, coax. Magda's friends cajoled her into drinking too much. Callous. Harsh, cold, unfeeling. The murderer's callous lack of remorse shocked the jury. Candor. Honesty, frankness. We were surprised by the candor of the politician's speech because she is usually rather evasive. Chide. To voice disapproval. Hanya chided Gregory for his vulgar habits and sloppy appearance. Circumspect. Cautious. Though I promised Marta's father I would bring her home promptly by midnight, it would have been more circumspect not to have specified a time. Clandestine. Secret. Announcing to her boyfriend that she was going to the library, Maria actually went to meet George for a clandestine liaison. Coerce. To make somebody do something by force or threat. The court decided that David Beckham did not have to honor the contract because he had been coerced into signing it. Coherent. Logically consistent, intelligible. William could not figure out what Harold had seen because he was too distraught to deliver a coherent statement. Complacency. Self-satisfied, ignorance of danger. Simon tried to shock his friends out of their complacency by painting a frightening picture of what might happen to them. Confidant, a person entrusted with secrets. Shortly after we met, he became my chief confidant. Connive, to plot, scheme. She connived to get me to give up my plans to start up a new business. Cumulative, increasing, building upon itself. The cumulative effect of hours spent using the World English website was a vast improvement in his vocabulary and general level of English. Debase, to lower the quality or esteem of something. The large raise that he gave himself debased his motives for ruining the charity. Decry, to criticize openly. Andrzej Leper, the leader of the Polish Self-Defense Party, decried the appalling state of Polish roads. Differential, showing respect for another's authority. Donata is always excessively deferential to any kind of authority figure. Demure, quiet, modest, reserved. Though everyone else at the party was dancing and going crazy, she remained demure. Deride, to laugh at mockingly, scorn. The native speaker often derided the other teacher's accent. Despot, one who has total power and rules brutally. The despot issued a death sentence for anyone who disobeyed his laws. Diligent, showing care in doing one's work. The diligent researcher made sure to double-check her measurements. Elated, overjoyed, thrilled. When he found out he had won the lottery, the postman was elated. Eloquent, expressive, articulate, moving. The best man gave such an eloquent speech that most guests were crying. Embezzle, to steal money by falsifying records. The accountant was fired for embezzling 10,000 euros of the company's funds. Empathy, sensitivity to another's feelings as if they were one's own. I feel such empathy for my dog. When she's upset, so am I. Enmity, ill will, hatred, hostility. John and Scott have clearly not forgiven each other because the enmity between them is obvious to anyone in their presence. Erudite, learned. My English teacher was such an erudite scholar that he has translated some of the most difficult and abstruse Old English poetry. Extol, to praise, revere. Camilla extolled the virtues of a vegetarian diet to her meat-loving boyfriend. Fabricate, to make up, invent. When I arrived an hour late to class, I fabricated some excuse about my car breaking down on the way to work. Feral, wild, savage. That beast looks so feral that I would fear being alone with it. Flabbergasted, astounded. Whenever I read an Agatha Christie mystery novel, I am always flabbergasted when I learn the identity of the murderer. Forsake, to give up, renounce. I won't forsake my conservative principles. Fractious, troublesome or irritable. Although the child insisted he wasn't tired, his fractious behavior, especially his decision to crush his jam sandwiches all over the floor, convinced everyone present that it was time to put him to bed. Furtive, secretive, sly. Claudia's placement of her drugs in her sock drawer was not as furtive as she thought, as the sock drawer is the first place most parents look. Gluttony, overindulgence in food or drink. Helen's fried chicken tastes so divine, I don't know how anyone can call gluttony a sin. Gratuitous, uncalled for, unwanted. Every evening the guy at the fish and chip shop gives me a gratuitous helping of vinegar. Haughty, disdainfully proud. The superstar's haughty dismissal of her co-stars will backfire on her someday. Hypocrisy, pretending to believe what one does not. Once the politician began passing legislation that contradicted his campaign promises, his hypocrisy became apparent. Impeccable, exemplary, flawless. If your grades were as impeccable as your brother's, then you too would receive a car for a graduation present. Impertinent, rude, insolent. Most of your comments are so impertinent that I don't wish to dignify them with an answer. Implacable, incapable of being appeased or mitigated. Watch out, once you shun grandmother's cooking, she is totally implacable. Impudent, casually rude, insolent, impertinent. The impudent young woman looked her teacher up and down and told him he was hot. Incisive, clear, sharp, direct. The discussion wasn't going anywhere until her incisive comment allowed everyone to see what the true issues were. Indolent, lazy. Why should my indolent children, who can't even pick themselves up off the sofa to pour their own juice, be rewarded with a trip to Burger King? Inept, not suitable or capable, unqualified. She proved how inept she was when she forgot 2 orders and spilled a pint of cider in a customer's lap. Infamy, notoriety, extreme ill repute. The infamy of his crime will not lessen as time passes. Inhibit, to prevent, restrain, stop. When I told you I needed the car last night, I